If you want to scale your brand in 2025, this is the only Facebook ad strategy that you will need. I've tried it all, different ad account structures, testing structures, scaling structures, bid caps, cost caps, auto bid, ABO, CBO, and whatever else there is. And based on over 10 million in ad spend across multiple brands, this is what's proven to work for most of the brands the best. So I'll be going over the best media buying strategy and setup that you want to go for, and then what you need in order to scale fast with this kind of setup. So first of all, the ad account structure. Many people are arguing, okay, should I test and scale in different campaigns or in one campaign? Should it be an ABO, a CBO? What's the bid strategy? I'll show you all here. So the way we run this is having just one campaign, one main campaign where we have testing and scaling. I will show you how in a moment. And that we run as a CBO. First of all, why CBO? Well, I have a video on that. It will be linked in the description. But basically, if you want the short version, the CBO distributes the budget by itself on the ad sets, and the ABO, there you set the budget for each ad set. And with our strategy here, we want the CBO, the algorithm, to spend by itself, to choose what to spend on. And I'll show you in a moment why this works so well. So basically what we do with the strategy and why we only need one campaign is because in this one campaign we have testing, we have scaling, we have top of funnel ads, middle of funnel ads, bottom of funnel ads, literally everything. And the reason why this works is because, well, basically when you launch an ad, Facebook goes and actually scans the ad. Facebook optimizes each single ad for its ideal audience. So for example, if we have more of a retargeting concept, it will have a higher frequency. If we have a top of funnel ad, it will have a lower frequency. And Facebook also finds who to retarget most efficiently. I've tested also structures where you have like a top of funnel campaign, a bottom of funnel campaign, middle of funnel, and so on and so on. And on average, really, like, it was way more complicated, way harder to scale, because you have like all those campaigns that you need to juggle and make sure that you don't have any audience overlap and so on. And in the end, it performed just as well, or sometimes even a bit worse than this one campaign strategy. So this is why we go for this campaign strategy. Now, why CBO and not ABO? Like on ABO, many people say, hey, when I launch a test, I can actually set the budget here. I can make sure that it spends properly, that I get data, and that I basically can test the ads and find those winning ads. What if Facebook doesn't spend on it? What if it decides wrong and basically I miss a winner because it decided to not spend on it? Many people think also the CBO is broken because like new ads, they put them into the campaign and they just like don't get any spend, for example, like these ones, and they think, okay, like something is wrong. But what's actually happening is that those ads that are getting the spend are your best ads, and those that are not are simply worse. And with our strategy, we actually want this to happen, because with this strategy, you can literally like launch so many tests without wasting a lot of money on it, because Facebook will only pick out the best ads to spend on. Because we have the CBO, and this doesn't work in an ABO, right? Because we have the CBO, this CBO will just pick out the ads that are actually worth spending on and spend a lot on it. And on like weak ads or like just like mediocre ads, they will get some spend but not much. For example, like this one, right? Let's see if it did that actually. Okay, that get a quite a good ROAS, maybe not scalable, just one purchase, not enough data yet, right? So on mediocre ads, it will spend a bit here, for example. This is decent, but not nothing compared to this one ad set. And yeah, it will basically distribute it differently based on how strong the ad is. So this is one thing, right? In this structure, you can launch as many tests as you want, basically. And if they don't get any spend, you turn them off, you launch the next tests. You don't really spend much on testing. Facebook only spends on it if it's actually good. So that way you don't burn through a lot of budget while you're testing. Now, in the way you structure these tests, this is also the next thing that like people are confused about, is you basically want to have a winning ad set. Here you just collect all your winning ads, right? You collect them into one ad set. You can mix videos, statics, whatever, and you let them do the thing. And at the same time, you go and launch more ad sets that will be tests. And then what happens is, and again, this is because of the CBO, what happens is that if they are actually good, Facebook will spend on it. And if they're really good, like better than the winning ads here, and only then you get really those jumps in performance, then Facebook will just spend more on them than on the winning ads. We can also look at the last 7 days. So basically, right, what will happen is, for example, this one starts to kind of take over, because we can see over the last 30 days, this spent like 6x of this one. It is only online for like 1 day, right? But now over the last 7 days, this actually got like a good proportion of the ad spend. And now if we look actually since it's online, we can see that, yeah, this is basically now competing with the winners ad set. So this will be the next big winner that will take over the ad spend and actually scale the brand. Okay, yeah, just one purchase on both, not enough data yet because it's just yesterday and today, but this is how it works. And this way, again, you don't really need to spend on like weak tests. For example, this we launched 3 days ago, spent only like $100, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Then Facebook saw, okay, like we have this strong ad, and this is what we will focus on. So what you want to do is really just, you know, have these tests, and then the winning ads, you transfer them here via post ID. If you don't know how to do that, there will be a video linked in the description where I show you within like 40 seconds or whatever how to find the post ID and how to paste it into the winning ad set. And then the last question is, okay, how do you actually do the testing strategy, right? You might have been confused because I called this just one ad, even though it's an ad set. Well, basically because it's one concept. If you go into this, right, you can see, okay, here we have like 3 versions, but it's the same kind of ad, it's the same kind of idea. Let me show you. So if you go here on preview, right, you can see you have a product image, the branding, and actually like a long form copy, not even really a headline. The hook is here, the product itself, and then you can see the copy here. And the same kind of concept we have here. Basically what is different is the copy and the image. We do a bit broader split tests, not just different text or not just different image, but like the text and the image is different. And here we can basically see, okay, like this image and this kind of copy resonated the most. We do this in all of these tests, right? So this way you get actually free data, which is pretty insane if you think about it. In an ABO, you have to spend on every single ad. Here you get free data because if, for example, of course, it has to spend on your test, because here we basically, we have the same ad format, but we test 3 different angles, basically. Here we say your purchase creates impact, right? So we're not even selling, okay, you will get this, but you are a good human by doing this. You're a good human by buying this. This is what we sell. We sell sustainability, we sell fair wages, and supporting a native community of women, right? So there's a lot that plays into it, like native community support, women empowerment, and so on, right? So this is what we sell. This is the angle here. And this angle, if we look into it, we see that we still have this angle that, hey, the native artisans craft these cuffs. But here we go into how it's made with intention and it's built to last. So those are kind of different selling points, right? It's very durable, but also like intentional, not just a mass product. And then here we go into its uniqueness because it's handmade, but also not only handmade, but the pattern is very unique. And again, we talk about supporting the artisan women. So 3 different angles, a bit mixed to be honest here, right? Because it's the same ad format, but we see that this messaging actually performs the best, where we don't talk really, okay, you will get this and this, but you are a good human because you help people while purchasing something. And this is what people like, right? Because if you have a jewelry that you like, and you have a piece of jewelry that you like, and you're a good human by buying it and wearing it, why shouldn't you go for the second one, right? So this proved to work here. And this is how you want to structure all the tests. So basically all these tests, they are structured like this. We have 3 different versions where we test something. It might be a different angle, it might be a different avatar, it might be a different desire. The most important thing is just that you keep all the variables, almost all the variables the same, but just change one thing, right? Because if you change the persona that you target and the desire and even the ad format, let's say, you can have 3 completely different videos in an ad set, and if one of them takes off and the other one's not, it doesn't really tell you, hey, was this better because of the ad format or the persona or the desire? Like, you can't really tell. But when you structure your tests like these, and this is where I'm getting to the next important point, the testing structure. If you structure it like these, right, you know exactly, hey, like this kind of angle performed the best, or you know exactly, hey, this kind of persona performs the best, and then you can go and make more ads about that. And again, the winning version, right, let's say from here, the winning version from this one, we just take and transfer it into the winners ad set. And what will happen then is Facebook is like, okay, we have the ad also here, it will start spending here, they will be basically competing. This ad set will basically at some point die down because you have also here to spend on, and here you have way more winners. So then Facebook goes and just shifts all the spend towards this ad set again, and then you get all the results from this one, and then you can turn this off, and then you can the test, basically you can turn it off, and then you can launch more tests, and again try to outcompete your current winning ads. And whenever you outcompete them, you have a big scaling jump. Some people argue that, hey, if you run in an ABO, you can also like benefit from the small winners. We don't try to create a huge winner to scale like the brand in a big jump, but we want, you know, just better performance. And this kind of thinking is fine, but the problem is that often, like, just to find those mini winners, that they will usually like perform for a week or two and like kind of mediocre, not really scale you much. Maybe it will buy back the testing budget that you spent on like other ads that were just losers. But again, like in an ABO, you would just spend on all of them and kind of like lose a lot of testing budget, right? If we would try to test every single ad set and ad even properly here, we would probably spend like around 500 on each of those. Like you can see how much more we would have wasted, and like on average, of course, ROAS would be lower than this if we would go and just spend on the other ads that didn't perform. Now at this point you already know, okay, like here are the winners, here are the tests. You can just launch tests, you leave them in this campaign for 3 days. If they don't get any spend, you just turn them off and launch new tests. You know how to test, you know how to structure things, right? Now the only thing is, okay, how do you scale? It's very, very easy in this structure. So basically you look at your average ROAS and what you want to have. Let's say you want to have a ROAS of 3. This brand actually wants to have a ROAS of 2.5, so we're overall quite good right now. So yeah, right now we are higher than the target ROAS. So everything we do is increasing the budget. We are like, okay, we want a ROAS of 2.5, but we are at 3. So we scale the budget. If you scale, the ROAS will fall down usually, or like decrease slightly, because the same kind of ads go to new people, and Facebook already found who will be buying from you most likely with the ads that you're running. That means if you spend more and force the ad on more people that are like less ideal of an audience to convert from the ads that you're running, then of course the ROAS will decrease. But this is what you can again uplift with better ads that focus on those people. So this is how you scale in a creative strategy kind of sense, and in the media buying sense it's very easy. So we want a ROAS of 2.5, right? We are at ROAS 3 right now. Then we just go and increase the budget by 20%. So right now 20% of 400 would be 80. We just go and adjust it to 80, right? 480. Now I won't do this because today we actually already scaled this brand, but this is how we do it. And then if it's still good for the last 7 to 3 days, on the next day you can again increase by 20%, and so on and so on. So for scaling decisions, we actually usually look at the last 3 days, right? Not 7 days. And if you want to turn something off and see if it got like unprofitable, we look at the last 7 days. And if it's something is below break even, like for this brand, it's actually well below 2, the break even ROAS. If something is well below 2, we just turn that off. Again, we check every single day, the last 7 days. So this is how we run the structure. Now, the next thing that people are sometimes confused about, should they run bid caps, cost caps, auto bid? What is it? So like I can just show you, if we go into this, we have cost per result goal none. We just run it on auto bid, maximize number of conversions. And the reason for this is because, well, you can set auto bids, you can set like target ROAS, right? And then you might argue, okay, but like if I want target ROAS, and this is actually how many people like argue for this kind of structure. If I want a target ROAS of like, let's say 2.5, and I don't want to spend any budget on ads that are worse, then why not just set a target ROAS of 2.5? Then I literally won't spend at all on ads that are worse and will save even more budget. Well, this sounds good, but the problem with this is that Facebook is then thinking, okay, how can we actually achieve this kind of target ROAS? What people are most likely to convert on the highest ROAS? And then it's like, okay, we have this warm audience. They always buy for a ROAS of like 5 because they're already warm. They are very, very easy to sell to. They know us, they like us, they just want an offer. Or there's this audience, this cold, they don't know us, they convert usually at a ROAS of 2. Okay, so the target is 2.5. So we just spend on this warm audience to keep the ROAS as high as possible, because that is the target, right? And then it goes on and spends on this kind of audience, on this warm audience, and this goes quite well, and you get a ROAS of 5 and you think everything is amazing. And after 1 month, your campaign suddenly starts spending at all, and you make no sales from Facebook, because you basically burned out, you emptied this whole warm audience. It only focused on this warm audience, it emptied the funnel, and now there's no one person to spend on, because you basically told the algorithm, okay, like focus on the most profitable audience, which is this warm audience, and this cold audience you didn't spend on because Facebook thought, okay, like with them we can't keep the target ROAS, so we just don't spend on them. Whereas when you set it to auto-bid, Facebook just spends with the goal of the maximum conversion, of the maximum scalability. And even if ROAS is, let's say, just 2, even though our target is 2.5, it focuses on getting more people into the funnel that we can then sell to during sales or like with warm ads. And this keeps your funnel and the business growing. And this is why this is the most scalable strategy. So for the bid, we just set it to auto-bid. Yes, you will spend some money not on your target, but this is where you really should not blame Facebook, but you should blame your ads and make ads that actually get you performance at the ROAS that you want. Now the last part is, okay, how do we actually scale up with this strategy fast, right? And what you want to do is, you probably already see, like, it's not like duplicating campaigns, because that doesn't make any sense. That just creates audience overlap. It's not like, oh, let's try this Advantage Plus campaign, or let's try this like interest targeting campaign. By the way, I didn't mention yet, but I think at this point this should be like common knowledge. All of this is being run broad without like interest settings or whatever, like Advantage Plus audience. In case you're not familiar with that, that just means that like Facebook will still not show your ads to everyone, obviously, but it optimizes every single ad. It just means that it starts the optimization in a pool of people that is not just limited to some settings that you set, but it starts in a big pool, but still it optimizes for the best possible audience. And if you set like exclusions by age or gender or interests, you could exclude those people that would actually buy from you. So this is why the Advantage Plus audience performs the best, because you just don't limit Facebook and it still optimizes for the best possible audience. So now back to my point. As you can see, everything here runs like without some weird media buying hacks, not like duplicating budgets or campaigns or whatever, right? Well, those strategies can sometimes work and they make sense to scale up fast during, let's say, Black Friday. You don't want to do it long term, because long term they will just like eat your campaign structure inside out and like burn your funnel out, and then you're left with nothing. So given this structure, how do you scale fast now? And now we are getting really to the beauty of the structure, because we already like introduced that we can run this and test a lot of ads without having to spend a lot on tests, because it won't spend on tests like this one if they are not good. So what you do is you launch really like 3 to 5, maybe even 10 new ad sets every single week, where every ad set is a test of like 3 versions. If it's a static ad, we already went over how that should look like, right? Like basically 3 different static ads where you split test just one variable: avatar, persona, benefit, and so on. If it's a video, you usually want to still split test 3 different things, but you split test not like 3 entirely different videos, but just the hooks, because you can have like a hook that goes into aesthetic, a hook that goes into like, let's say, women empowerment, a hook that goes into supporting native artisans, and then the rest of the video can be the same. And these batches, you like basically want to launch as many as possible. You should always make sure that you have actually a budget that can sustain the testing amount. So for example, if you throw in 100 batches, like 100 ad sets, and are just on a, like, let's say, budget of $200 per day, well, this won't work, because you give the algorithm too many options basically. So what you want to do instead is throw in 3, 5, maybe even 10 ad sets if you have like a good budget of like, let's say, 5k per day, 10k per day, and just let it sit there for 3 to 5 days, maybe 7 days if you need. And then within those 3 to 5 days, either they will get spent, more spent than the winning ad set, right? We talked about it, and take off, or it won't. And if it won't, and if it, like, let's say 3 days passed and they didn't spend it all, then you can just turn them off. What you can also do is you can actually go here to breakdown day by day, right? And if you see that the test, like here, this one spent 44, then 34, then let's see today, like if you see the budget has a downtrend and it's just a new batch, it doesn't increase but decrease, then in this case you can already tell, okay, like this won't really perform. If 3 days pass and it spends like $30 and then like 20 and then like 5 on the next day, you can already know, okay, like this is a dead ad set, you can just turn it off. And if something spent decently within like 3 days, maybe comparable to the winning ad set but not as much, then you, well, just leave it in for a bit more, maybe 5 days, maybe 7 days. You can still run your new tests, you still turn off the old tests, But like this one, you just keep a bit longer to see, okay, will it actually overtake the winning ad set or not? And then at this point, the only thing, for some reason, this doesn't really load. But yeah, if you do that, the only thing that prevents you from scaling is finding new winning ads. And with this system, you can literally like test and find winning ads super fast, super cost efficiently. And you want to focus on just making extremely good ads. And this is a science that you can like learn and master for years. Many people do the mistake that they think, oh, let me put this ad into a cost cap campaign, or let me, duplicate the campaign, or let me try an A/B. Like this all won't really do much for you, because the ad that the people see is the same. Yes, you change some settings, you control some different things in the ads manager. But one thing that you have to understand, that if Joe Schmo sees your ad from a CBO and he doesn't convert, if he sees the exact same ad from an ABO or from a cost cap campaign or whatever, he still won't convert. And this is what many people don't understand. You want to run a clean structure like this, a simple structure, a structure that enables you to test a lot, to scale very cleanly, that is not complicated, that is very easy, and then you just want to focus on extremely excellent ads that actually scale. Now, if you struggle with that and actually struggle to get great ads that get you great ROAS in your account and scale, this is exactly what I do for e-com brands. If you want some help with that, you can check out the first link in the description. Otherwise, check out the other videos that I linked here that explain in more detail how to run this structure. Keep scaling. Bye.